Hey guys, we're burning the midnight oil. We're hanging out at Electric Bike ZZZ of Santa Barbara, and they carry a bunch of high bikes. We were inside earlier with Scott, but they closed. They let us borrow the Haibike Urban Plus. I've been excited about this bike for a while because it's the only e-bike in the high bike line I've seen that has the TranzX mid-drive. This is the high speed, like M25, really compact. It's just this little circular thing. It blends right into that down tube because it has the integrated battery pack. That is a 48 volt 10.2 pack. So it's like a 500 watt hour, 5.6 pounds, relatively lightweight. And it just seamlessly, this bike, to me, it's sort of like, probably heard of Stromer before, and they've got like the integrated battery and they've got the hub motor. The hub motors are cool and they have some regenerative braking and stuff, but this is a little bit more balanced. It brings the weight into the middle of the frame and it gives you some efficiency because it's pulling the same chain you are. You're able to switch gears and empower it for climbing hills and reaching higher top speed. So this is a speed pedelec up to 28 miles per hour, 45 kilometers per hour. And apparently there's some sort of shift detection or something. That's what the website said. So I was gonna, test that out. I love that they've got a 48.2 chainring up here, a little bit bigger to help you hit and maintain those higher speeds. And then a guide. Do you see that alloy plate on the inside as well as the outside? So you've got kind of a bash guard quality going on down here if you come into contact with like a high curb or something. And then also the guide so the chain won't drop off. Really appreciate that. Standard Lasco 170 millimeter crank arms. We've got these awesome VP pedals. They're, a little bit larger than normal, and they've got some good traction and some great reflection. This bike comes in two colors. So we're looking at the anthracite gray, kind of a satin, and then there's also like a metallic white. That would be the more visible bike. And it is, we're getting to be like evening time. People have their lights on. You want to stay visible. And I love that these Schwalbe Supermoto X tires, 27.5 by 2.4, not quite plus size, but that actually makes them a little bit more nimble, lightweight. You still get some comfort because there's high air volume in these. And again, reflective sidewall stripes. You would have that white frame be really visible from the side, and the Kobe system. This thing has 3 headlight modes. There's an auto sensor version, or you can just manually hold the up arrow and it switches through some of the different modes. So I just turned the main light off and then I turned it back on. Really cool that these are always active, the little side lights. The guys who started Kobe, it's like a software company, kind of a automotive play. They've done dashboards and designs lights for automotive companies, and I think they're bringing a lot of that technology into the e-bike space. And then Bosch acquired Kobe in 2017. So it's interesting to see that interface on a TranzX powered bike. And I love that in this case, we've got this Bush & Mueller Top Light Line E light in the back, really well positioned, so you could have a trunk bag, panniers, it's gonna stay out of the way. It's wired in, it runs off the main battery pack. And the thing about it is, when you pull these brake levers, it actually goes bright. Look at that. I mean, that's awesome. Some of the other Kobe systems, they had this independent light that you had to charge separately, and there was supposed to be like maybe a motion sensor or something fancy that I never quite figured out. I love that this is just hardwired in, and you've got an excellent carry-more rack rated up to 25 kilograms. That's roughly 55 pounds. It's got the spring latch. It's got the pannier blockers on the side. I didn't see like a little loop. Sometimes it's nice to have a bungee loop at the bottom, but these extra support arms, they help it to be strong and independent. See how it's actually supporting the fender, and these are plastic fenders, so very durable, maybe a little bit more rattly than like aluminum. They're not gonna rust like steel. They're SKS, they make great stuff, right? So I think they just blend in and they offer you pretty good coverage. I think these are like 65, 66 millimeters in width. The front fender, you see how it springs to this way a little bit. There's some cables and stuff, might be able to tighten that up. Aluminum alloy rigid fork with a through axle. So 100 millimeter hub spacing, 15 millimeters. It threads right in. So it's like a Maxle with quick release. You just open this up and then use that as a lever to unscrew it. Really stiff. It's gonna help you to improve the handling quality and just the performance aspects of this larger wheel. So it's not boost hub spacing. These aren't plus size tires, but they are bigger than normal, and I love the rims here. These are a little bit nicer, and they've got the reinforcement eyelets, black spokes. It all blends together on the black frame. The wires also stay pretty hidden, in part because they're mostly internally routed. And on the high bike mountain models, I'm used to seeing like the big sort of grommets that you can take off for easy serviceability. I don't know about this one, but the price point on this bike is just phenomenal. They've really been able to bring the price down, and I think in part because they're not using Bosch, but for a speed pedelec with fenders, with lights, the Kobe system, the rack. I would probably, from a comfort standpoint, run these tires a little bit lower pressure because I'm a lightweight guy, and you're going fast and potentially further because of the mid-drive versus like a hub motor. The thing is, you've also got a 31.6 millimeter seat post, which is a little bit thicker, more substantial, and that's a standard size. So you could get yourself, like a body float would be perfect for this bike. It's gonna help to, you know, take the edge off the vibration. We've got I think maybe it's like a 7-degree angle on that. It could be, yeah, it looks like 7 degrees, but it's a little bit longer. We've got some spacers, some risers here. This is the size medium frame, and you know, for me, it's a good fit, but it is like a traditional high-step diamond, okay? So when you're approaching a bike like this, especially if you have gear on the back, you're gonna have to like lift your leg up real high or make the big step over the middle of the frame. But I guess in some ways that keeps it rigid. It helps it to be a little bit lighter. This is not the lightest bike in the world. I think it's like 59 pounds, but that's because of the fenders, that's because of the rack, and I think with the higher capacity battery, 500 watt hours, the Kobe system, I don't know, there's definitely, it's more substantial bike. We were talking about the thru-axle in the front. There's also a thru-axle in the rear. So 135 millimeter standard hub spacing, but it's a 12 millimeter thru-axle with quick release again. Love the kickstand position, adjustable length, and the brakes. These are great. So these are the Tektro Dorado HDE 715, 203 millimeters up front, 180 in the rear. A lot of your weight shifts forward when you brake hard, and so you do want that larger disc brake in the front. And this is something you only see usually on like mountain bikes, downhill bikes and stuff. Gives you a better mechanical advantage, spreads the kind of the heat dissipation is a little bit better. And you know, with the brake light, it's like a really great commuting platform in my opinion. And locking ergonomic grips, like, you know, back to the comfort that it's mixed in. It's like a good blend of things here. And you know, the battery fading into it. At first when I saw this bike, I was kind of like, oh, what is this gonna be like? Because I'm so used to seeing, you know, Bosch or Yamaha mid-drives on the Haibike line. And I trust Haibike. I like the style and everything. They're part of the Excel group, and they've got global reach and purchasing power. So again, the price point is a big selling point for me on this one. It's just utility. The comfort aspect is what I really keep coming back to. So it's like getting that seat post suspension, or maybe I would just ride at lower speeds or lower pressure on the tires and stuff like that. I do think they're gonna hold up pretty well. Again, the Schwalbe Supermoto X, they do have that performance green guard, which is like a puncture protection liner. Hopefully you won't get flats, but on a lot of, like, again, the hub motor driven bikes, changing the flats a little bit bigger deal. You've got like the cables and stuff. On this one, it's easy. It's quick release on both of them. And again, sturdy in the rear with that thru-axle Shimano Dior XT derailleur. This does not have the one-way clutch. It may be Shadow Plus, which is like tucked in. It's real tight, not gonna get bumped if you're next to a curb. Love that there's a sticker slap guard. It's 11 to 36, there are 10 sprockets. So it's a 10-speed bike. 10, and then up here, the 48-tooth chainring. Okay, pretty clean, pretty reliable drivetrain, I'm guessing. You know, I'm really only seeing a brand new bike here. And again, this is the medium-sized frame that I'm checking out here. I did include the standover height, the length, the width, everything back at the website for you guys. And then the cockpit. Sort of clean, and you actually don't need to have your phone in to operate this. I was kind of impressed. There's like the little LED battery level indicator down here, and then a power button on the side of the Kobe interface. You can turn this on and use it without your phone, but of course we've downloaded the Kobe app, and we're gonna explore that a little bit in just a second. Button pad, pretty much within reach. Check this out. Yeah, electronic horn and flick bell. So you've got yourself covered. You could be doing all kinds of like heads up, you know? And then the big brake levers, they have the little ball at the end. That's a European requirement for 45 kilometer per hour speed pedal X, and 4 fingers. You can really bear down on these. And then again, at the center is the Kobe system with that light. It's aimable. There's a little micro USB port in the side of that mount, so you can charge, maintain your phone while you're riding, and that's phenomenal. There are a lot of electric bike systems out there where you can use your phone to run an app, but they don't let you charge off the battery. And this is a pretty high capacity lithium-ion battery, so you're draining your phone the whole time because you're using it. In some cases, like with the super pedestrian kit thing, you have to use your phone to run that, and you're draining it the whole time. Whereas this one, you're maintaining it, and there's a little lightning bolt there, and it's got so many options. There's so much stuff in here, but it really just gives you the standard, you know, pedal assist levels here. So you arrow up to 1, 2, 3, or 4 turbo. That's the highest level of assist. We've got the headlight down here. If we hold the minus key, it opens up my music. I could be messing around with that. Oh, and then I'm turning down my volume. I'm gonna head back to the main display section here. I've got my personal profile, my contacts. I can make a phone call on this thing. They've got the kind of a compass, which is neat, and then you're pedaling the watts that you're putting out. So there's a lot more feedback in this thing. It really is a smart display. Distance, so how far we've gone, like odometer, duration of this ride, battery capacity down here, and it also has some more precise readouts. I think if I hold the up button here, yeah, change the lights to auto, and now the lights would turn on brighter based on the surroundings, and it is getting darker right now, so that might be a cool one to leave it on. And then we can arrow to the right or left over here, and it's the same thing as touching the display. So I feel like there's actually a lot of redundancy in this system and some customization. I'm playing my music right now. Pause. One of the other things that we discovered earlier was that you can actually customize the background color. So right now it's blue. That's the standard color, but I think there was green and pink and gray. There's really so many settings to go through here, and I'm actually hanging out with Virginia Block, who runs Amigo Electric Bikes in Toronto, Canada. How's it going?
Great. How are you, Court?
Awesome. It was really cool listening to you go over all the different stats and options of the Kobe system earlier on the computer, and you've been carrying these for a while now and sold like 5 of them in Toronto already. You just got them like a week ago?
We just got them, and it's probably one of the bikes I'm the most excited about because of how smart it is, and we have a much younger clientele who are into tech, and it looks like one of the best tech bikes on the market.
And the other aspect of your business, you know, you have this shop, you have your own bikes that you sell, the Amigo branded bikes, a little bit cheaper. This isn't that much more expensive, and you're getting like high-speed operation, kind of the Haibike name, the cool styling, the thru-axles, the reflective, you know, some of your bikes have like some suspension and some of these other comfort points, but this is a fast, like, capable bike, and I think it has a seal bearing integrated headset, stuff that's going to hold up to the weather. And where you live, there's snow and ice and salt and stuff.
Oh yeah, we're really excited about the bike. We purchased a pile, and I'm sure you're going to see a pile of them on the Canadian roads.
Yeah. Did you remember anything about the display panel that was kind of unique while we were going through that maybe you didn't hear me mention?
There's an alarm system.
Oh, that's right. Like, you take your phone, and if someone shakes your bike,
the bell sound with it, that can actually turn into the alarm system that will go louder. And that's something that people really care about. Safety, theft, and the Kobe system really covers that. It's so great because it's designed so that you never have to touch your phone. You've got everything here to use, even accept phone calls, with the lights. Like, it does everything.
That is so huge,
safer.
like for the delivery driver thing, because a lot of your customers, it's the Uber Eats, and maybe they're like getting a phone call on the way, and
yeah, they can answer a phone call, charge the phone. That's really important to them.
That's exciting. Yeah, and I like that you can operate this without a phone, because maybe you forget it or you dropped your phone, and I don't know, it's just kind of neat that you don't have to have like a super fancy smartphone to operate this bike.
And the other thing is the firmware updates that you can do, software updates, how it's connected to the cell phone network, Bluetooth connected, so you're going to get constant upgrades with it.
We did a little bit of that. So, you know, we didn't show the setup process. I've worked with the Kobe system a couple times, and they might have had, I mean, we know they had at least one software update because we did it. And when we plugged the phone in, it actually said, oh, you know, firmware update, and it downloaded it. This seems a little bit simpler than I remember, and they're probably going to improving it ongoing now that Bosch owns it.
Oh, yes.
And everything. So to me, it was kind of cool. We were doing like a route planning thing, and they have this map, and they said it was vectorized, so it's designed not to use as much data.
Not use as much data.
And it gives you choices of routes. Do you remember the different options?
Yeah, fastest route, quietest, and shortest distance.
Yeah, how cool is that?
Yeah, and that's something that's really important to people.
Yeah, maybe you're delivering stuff during the day, and then on the way home you're like, I need some peace and quiet. It's not about the speed this time, it's about like me and just chilling out. I like that. So we could spend the whole time talking just about the Kobe interface, but I think the takeaways for me are like really big display that's going to be updating and offering you even more feedback combined with charging your phone, and that's cool. And then the alarm thing, you take your phone and the bike sort of gives some siren. Down here back at the motor, so we talked about the 48 volt 10.2 amp hour battery, and then the motor system is actually measuring those 3 signals of rear wheel speed right here with the sensor, pedal cadence, and pedal torque. I'm not sure exactly how quick or whatever. We're gonna hop on it, we're gonna test ride it in a little bit here. But it's smart. It's definitely taking into account like how hard you're pushing, and that's gonna help extend your range. This thing should get pretty good range just being a mid-drive and having a larger battery. I seated the battery before. There's a little bit of a like lockdown. Did you hear that? It kind of had to click. And then on the other side is the charging port, and it's just clear of the crank arm. This is something you hear me talk about a lot. I'm always concerned about, if you're plugged in, you don't want to snag or bend the charging cable. So here's the charger over here. It's got that metal end, which is nice, like tough if that's in your backpack, you're the delivery driver or whatever. It's TranzX, just 2 amp, so it's not quite as fast as some of the Bosch ones. Oh boy, hopefully it's durable. it's careful with these things, and with the battery actually. I'm gonna go ahead and take this thing off. It has these pretty nice keys, Trelloc, and they're like the fancy car key version. Just insert that, unlock it, see it popped up here, and then just carefully, there's no like handle on this thing. I mean, you can grab it. It wasn't super heavy, under 6 pounds, and there we go again, 48 volt 10.2 amp hours, but it's pretty small. Like, I love how small this thing is. Maybe you could get a second one if you needed to extend your range. Definitely bring that charger along with you and your tools and other supplies in the bag. This is what it looks like inside the frame. Sorry, it's getting a little dark. Not bad. I usually take the battery pack off when I'm putting the bike on my car. I've actually got my car rack right over there, platform style. So it's just cool. I feel like this bike's really sleek, and the pricing for me is like a big deal. Kind of set it in at the top and then just click down. I'm gonna pull the keys out. You do have to twist them back. That wasn't spring loaded. So I pulled the keys out, but it's not locked in yet, right? So you really want to make sure that there we go. There's the click sound we heard earlier. Just make sure that's secure. You don't want to be the person who takes off riding and then has it bounce out on you. Could be an expensive lesson right there. And then now that we've taken the battery out, we put it back in. I think my phone has to sort of reset. So turn this on. There we go. It says no battery. Okay, it detected the battery. And this is something you always see. It's like, please always focus on traffic. Legal regulations and road signs always take precedence over the information. So it's kind of a no texting and driving message there. Got it. And you can like disable that if you want to, which is really cool. Let's see if there's some other stuff here. So weather, there was some sort of thing like, here's what it's going to be like. It's getting ready to rain, guys, so we probably get out there pretty soon. But that's neat too for planning your rides. And in the future, maybe they'll have something where it's like, leave work now if you don't want to get wet. And then battery, what's going on here? Voice activation, you can turn on the voice activation, turn it off, the auto. Yeah, it's just a lot richer and more deep than some of the other e-bike systems that I've ridden. And the button pad even has a light on it, so you can kind of know what you're doing while you're riding. I think there's been enough talk. I should probably get out there and ride this thing before it gets too much darker. So just a second ago, I had my music playing, and like if you hold the down arrow, it kind of goes back here, and then press the center, you can play it, you can stop it. Like, it takes a little bit of practice, but I love how it's just, you can control it all right there, like Virginia was saying. And then you hold that center button and it takes you back to the display. That's your default. You just hold the center button when all else fails. So Virginia and I were talking about the different wireless signals. This thing uses Bluetooth as well as ANT Plus, which is like a heart rate monitor. And if you kind of flick through this menu, there's this one that says watts, and you tap on it. It shows you your power as you ride, your pedal strokes, RPM. I'm gonna use that one when we're pedaling to try to understand how that TranzX motor's working. But beats per minute. So heart rate monitor, you can get one of those like ANT Plus wireless monitors, or if you have the Apple Health app, I think it offers some feedback on that as well. So, whether it's commuting or a fitness application, I think that, again, coming back to, we're talking all about the exciting features, but there's a battery in the mount that had to be charged up. There's the battery down here. There was the software update. There's some learning. It could be a little overwhelming, but there's a lot of potential here too. So to me, those are sort of like the trade-offs. And I want to be fair about this. I'm trying to critique like the comfort and you know, just some of the other things. And you can use it without the phone. You just press that power button over there. So I think we got the light over there looking pretty good. I'm just gonna take off and go for a ride. I am in the highest level of assist. I'm just gonna double check that. Yep. Okay, so I'm up at turbo, and then I'm gonna go back to beats per minute. See you in a minute.
Have fun.
Seems like it's still helping me. Might go up to like 120 RPM, which is what I compliment on the Bosch system a lot. And I'm actually not feeling, I'm feeling pretty upright right now, and I guess that's because it's the correct size frame, medium. And then this is a little bright here right now, so you know, everything else it's nighttime, and the display is a little bit bright. That might be something you can adjust as well. Let's see here. I'm gonna hold the button here for a second. Takes me back to speed. It's in kilometers per hour right now. I'm just gonna leave that. I'm gonna try the shift detection. Huh, I could be mistaken, but it did seem like it was maybe easing out a little bit. Yeah. It's possible that this thing actually is measuring my shifting, and yeah, I think this thing has shift detection. That's a delighter for me, you know. Definitely don't want to wear out the chain, the sprockets, the derailleur, and you know, that's what shifting with the mid-drive does. This thing offers 500 watts of power, up to 550, 70 newton meters of torque, compared to like the Bosch systems. They go from 40 in the active line all the way up to 75 in the performance CX line. Okay guys, I'm still in the highest level of assist. You can see the chain down there. The guide is sweet. 48 teeth on that chain ring, 11 to 36 in the rear. Dior XT is a nice component group. It's lightweight. It's a little bit more reliable than just standard Dior or Serra that you see on a lot of other platforms. And I noticed that the spokes here, they're 13 gauge front and rear, so they're a little bit sturdier, and there's the reinforcement eyelets. We talked about the hydraulic discs being a little bit bigger in the front, 203. It's a nice setup. So listen for the motor, listen for the shift detection, and just, you know, how quickly it engages and disengages. I'm sorry that it might be a little dark here since we're riding at night at this point. So one thing I noticed is that the shift detection works a lot better if I also ease off a little bit when I'm pedaling. There were times I did that and it was just real, like one gear to the next. Other times I was just pedaling constant, and it's almost like the shift detection happened after it. It was like kunk, kunk. So, you know, that's always my advice. Ease off just a little bit when you're pedaling, especially on a mid-drive electric bike, so that it can shift without wearing out your drivetrain. And this, you should just get an idea of what it's like to ride around town, see a little bit of traffic. Virginia is setting up the seat post for her. This bike's probably a little on the large side. She's gonna go ahead and hop on this thing and just ride by so you can get just sort of a perspective of what you might look like on the bike. Maybe a little less beautiful, just a little, but hopefully just as like upright. It looks aggressive and sporty, but look at, you're not even leaned that far forward.
Comfortable. The grips are great, yeah.
Yeah, it's just, and I measured the width, like the handlebar width, because I think sometimes when you're riding in the city, there's the question of, am I going to be able to fit through cars in traffic and stuff if you're kind of, the delivery driver. That's who I'm really thinking about for this bike. Okay, go for it. There she goes. She's taking off. And it's really quiet when you're not on the bike. This is some of the other stuff you'll get with it. So like the Kobe system, there's actually a dongle because it uses CAN bus communications, and you can adjust some of the settings. It sounds like you can raise or lower the amperage by like 3 points or something. That was interesting to me. Plug it in and make some adjustments and fine tune it. You get the Haibike instruction manual. Here she comes. There's that super bright headlight. Looking good. I love the brake light. I mean, it's easy to forget, but that thing really lights up when you, let's do it again. Boom, boo. That is sweet. I was asking Virginia, how do you turn this thing off? Because you've actually been researching it a little bit, and normally I think I would just unplug my phone.
There's a little power button right here. Just hold down on that, and then the app exits your phone.
Interesting. Okay, and then back here I've got, I guess, some information about my trip. Like that was a 5-minute ride, 1.8 kilometers, and there was my average speed, 19.3 kilometers per hour. And then I see ZZZ over there. Maybe to wake it up, we tap the power button again. Yeah, there we go. And it's sort of like thinking. And now there's this like, okay, great. And just brings us back in with that warning. Awesome, thanks. And we just took the phone off the bike. There's the plug. It comes with two, like micro USB for Samsung and then Lightning for iOS, or you can just plug your own micro USB device switcher in there for the future phones. And then we took the phone off, and it took a second, but this lock icon turned white, and I think, do you want to press it? There we go. Did you see it was like bloop bloop, kind of like a car? Okay, maybe like walk away a little bit. So Virginia doesn't know, but I'm gonna steal this bike. Oh gosh, how could it give me a little There we go, it's giving me the siren. Is anything happening over there? Uh-oh, we're in trouble. And then it calms down. Okay, let's try it again. Moving the bike. I didn't even shake it that time, I just moved it. I'm gonna try to be like really sneaky. Are you all right? Okay, this time we're gonna just nice and easy. Yes. Oh. Oh no. It sensed me a little bit. Oh, that's pretty good. That's pretty good setup. I won't steal your bike, don't worry. So unfortunately, Virginia was saying nothing happened on the phone when I was stealing the bike earlier. But again, it would let the thief know and everyone around that maybe that doesn't belong to them. And then I was curious about releasing this bike because I don't own it, right? And I've just been demoing it with my phone. So I went into the Kobe app to press that gear setting. And then my bike, that's the Haibike Urban Plus, that's what I named it. They've got all this information about it. I could change that color we were talking about earlier. And towards the very bottom, it says reset and release hub. So I want to do that. Reset and release hub, yeah. So that way, whoever buys this bike or, demos it next, it won't lock them out and have the alarm go on them. So that's great. And this is the little, when you first get it, there's like this little tour. You hold the phone near the little cockpit over there. I think they call it the Kobe hub, and that's how it gets set up. Sweet. And it doesn't seem like it starts quite as fast. Like maybe takes a second to engage. Yeah, it's not as responsive as like the Yamaha system or the Bosch system, but this isn't a mountain bike. You don't need like the immediate start. I think ideally I would just be shifted down into a lower gear when starting. That headlight's really something. There we go. We made it back safely. Gosh, guys, that was like kind of a whirlwind. We've been working here all day, did our best studying. Of course, all the stats are back at the website, so you can dig in a little bit deeper for yourselves and share your thoughts and stuff in the comments here or back in the forums. Big thanks to Virginia for staying late with me and hanging out. And of course, Electric Bike ZZZ, carry a bunch of high bikes and stuff. It's always best if you can try these things out yourself. I'm trying to explain the nuance and the different camera angles to give you just a feel for like how that motor responds. But you know, I'm pretty impressed. I really like, actually, when you didn't see it, but we were out there and it had like shift detection, so it was easing out a little bit. But this motor just, it wasn't quite as responsive as like the mountain models, the Yamaha, the Bosch. So for a city application, I think it's pretty good. And the bike is very well balanced. The weight is positioned low and center on the frame, just where you want it. I think that's it, guys. Have fun out there, especially at night. Ride safe.